Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, shalom, bonjour, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Ken at 10. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. It is the 2nd of November, 53 days before Christmas. Can you believe that? And by the way, if you haven't done so yet, do give to our appeal for Christmas hampers for the less fortunate than ourselves. I'll put the banner up again. We're nearly halfway there now. We've got a long way to go, but we really appreciate your donations. A few things going on today. First of all, I wanted to talk about landlords, actually. You know, we get a lot of landlords. Are you right? You know, some people say to me, should I let my property? Should I sell it? And I always say it depends on your personality, who you are and what you like, really. There are some people that are so emotionally attached to their property that they should sell. And the reason I say that is because it can be heartbreaking when you get your property back and you've looked after it so well for all these years and something goes wrong, such as the oven's not clean, such as the house isn't clean. You know, this happens sometimes when tenants move out. Not always, most tenants are very good, but now and again you will have issues and you need to address those issues really dispassionately. You need to decathect and not be emotionally attached to the property. When you start renting your property, you have to remember it becomes a business, no longer your family home, it's a business. The question is, what's needed? Can you provide it? What does it cost? What are the likely risks? And have you mitigated those risks to the most effective way that you can? And also, are you the kind of personality, question, that's going to worry? Because if you are, don't bother, sell it. If you're the kind of person that can look at it as a business and say, hey, look, you know, this is okay for me. I can put this into a compartmentalized area and say to myself, this is a business, this is how I will run it. I say that because we've had a couple of instances recently of people that have been absolutely heartbroken by the fact that there's been some cleaning to be done at the end of lets. And it's really kind of jaded their view on rentals. And, you know, I say to them, look, you know, you've had a very large rental premium for the last X years. And every now and again, people leave. There'll be a few issues. It's why you take a substantial deposit. And most of the time, the deposit more than covers the damage. And where it doesn't, well, that's the business risk you take when you take the income. And that's my point. Are you prepared for that risk? Because nothing is risk-free, least of all, letting your home. You can protect against the biggest risk, which is the loss of rent, which we do for all of our landlords. And we take a deposit, of course, to mitigate any damages. And most tenants are great and they don't abuse the property in any way. However, tenants are not great gardeners, for instance. Sometimes they leave the ovens dirty. Sometimes the kitchen needs cleaning, you know, these kind of things. And most of the time we can agree with them what's to be done and it's fine. But there will be times when that damage goes above and beyond and we end up in dispute with that tenant. And most landlords are okay with that and they know that we will handle what we can for them in that regard, try and negotiate it, try and do our best. But ultimately, if it still doesn't work, it goes to one of the dispute services, in our case, the tenancy dispute service, which we look to adjudicate in these circumstances. A few items in the headlines today. In the Daily Mirror, the sales data shows a gulf in house prices. Analysis by the Mirror showing the gulf between the lowest and highest priced homes in the UK, with the cheapest selling for 0.05% of the value of the most expensive. Figures for home sales across England and Wales between July and September show the most expensive home sold for 38 million. 38 million pounds, and the cheapest for just 20,000. London accounted for each of the 5 most expensive homes sold in the period, with a 38 million pound mansion in Holland Park leading the way, while none of the top 5 costliest properties sold for under 10 million. At the other end of the scale, County Durham saw the 3 cheapest sales, with a home in Bishop Auckland going for 20,000 and 2 others in the region selling for 21,000. Conveyancing delays are easing, say the Times. This is good news, but of course it goes with the fact that the market's changed. There aren't as many people moving, so therefore we are starting to see the time it takes for a sale to go through reduce from the ridiculous delays we've had in the past. And what it says is conveyancing delays are easing following a summer surge, with the average time it takes to get a deal through down by 27 days. This is research according to Rightmove. It's taking just over 4 months or 127 days from a home being sold until it completes. That's down from 5 months or 154 days in July. About 704,000 sales were going through the conveyancing process in June, the highest number of sales subject to contract recorded by Rightmove in a decade. This was ahead of a stamp duty holiday, of course. The total number of homes changing homes is now 550,000, more than 160,000 of those, more than in October 2019, with the average time taken to complete a sale between 2017 and 2019 was 3.5 months or 104 days. Surprising, isn't it? It's a long time. The average transaction does take a while to go through. And sometimes it's things completely in your control, and sometimes it's out of your control. Most of the time it's out of your control. Chains, links above, mortgages, finance, leases, all the things that can have a massive impact, but also the efficiency of the people that you're dealing with. Good agents can make a massive difference to this by shortcutting at various areas and making sure those sales are progressed weekly, and making sure all parties are contacted, and so that everybody knows where the weak link is, what needs a kick and what doesn't. And this is very important. And it's why the same reason, a lot of people say to me, do you know a cheap solicitor? And I always come back with the same answer. I don't know a cheap one that's good. I know a good one and I know a cheap one. Which do you want? And it's the same with agents, and it's the same with anything, isn't it? Do you want a cheap car? Do you want a good car? It's the same thing. You need to pay the proper rate if you want professionals dealing with it. And if you do that, you're much more likely to get a smoother sale and one that ends up in a successful transaction in the lowest possible time frame. And that's what we all want, isn't it, at the end of the day? House builders have been hit by fears of the interest rate rises. And of course, we have the MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee, meeting this Thursday. And it's widely held that they may well, for the first time, increase interest rates. And we've been saying for some time this is quite likely. This decision on Thursday, the bank has been widely tipped to raise rates from 0.1% to 0.25% when the MPC meets, pushing up the cost of new mortgages. All of the talk of higher borrowing costs has put pressure on builders, and even a small hike could dampen the housing market. Well, that's true, always true, that it will have an impact. Interest rates correlate directly to how people feel about property, how they feel about their mortgages, and how affordable things are. And it's a big pressure as well amongst the lower income communities too. A nice article in The Guardian about Manchester building the UK's largest purpose-built village for rough sleepers. Like this one. Plans are underway for the Embassy charity to build the UK's largest village for rough sleepers in the Castlefield district of Manchester. Land has been provided on a free 125-year lease by the Peel Group, and it will be known as Embassy Village. It will provide homes for 40 men in Hope women as well. Purpose-built pods underneath 10 railway arches. Potential residents will be referred by Manchester City Council or local homeless charities. Very nice too. The budget has boosted the Land Registry's move to go digital, and this could make a difference as well. Land Registry can be a delay, especially with complex cases, and having it digitized will make such a difference. And they are behind the curve with this. Come on, guys, wake up and smell the coffee. So it'd be good to see that. There's a hoof house. If you don't know what these are, worth a Google that. I should have put one up so that I could show you. But they are amazing houses. They're beautiful, German-built kit form houses. They come over from Germany and build them on site. And the Daily Mail provides profiles a fossil-free, fuel-free hoof house in West Sussex with its own rainbow trout lake. What about that? Go fishing for your tea. A helipad and an ancient bluebell woodland. It's gone on sale for, hold your breath, 4.5 million. Paul Finnegan of Savills commented, the home owners, the interaction between the outside and indoors. Having a hoof house enabled them to enjoy the lovely 20-acre grounds. 20 acres, that's a lot of land. I think we'll see more houses like this in the future, he says. I'm not sure on those budgets. We'll see. So that's it in terms of property news for the day. We are just in the middle of a deposit protection course, actually, just looking at that, the TDS, and how to adjudicate in disputes, what they do and how they do it. And it's a surprise to some that you have to prove dilapidations, but you do, and it's right and properly so, because there was a time when many landlords considered that the deposit was theirs, and they took it regardless of what the situation was, and it was very, very hard for tenants to contest that. So the deposit schemes have been a great thing for the levelling up agenda, I think, and it is important that tenants do get a say, and that's what the deposit dispute schemes are all about. We've got a couple going through at the moment, and hopefully they'll see a fair adjudication. Time will tell. Apart from that, we are busy with rents at the moment. It's always busy at the beginning of the month. A lot of people move around the beginning of the month. So our rent roll tends to be very large between sort of the end of the month and the first week of the new month, which is good for our landlords getting paid. And so lots of work going on there with administration and things. 53 days till Christmas. Who knew? Not long, is it? So I hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching today. We'll be back tomorrow with another Ken at 10. Until then, stay safe, look after your family and friends. See you soon.